Hey, Ed here from 10,000 Foot View, and I've got another Google Ads quick tip for you today. Just before I jump in, a reminder to please like our content and subscribe to the channel. We post about Google Ads at least once every week. Okay, so today I'm going to be discussing learning mode, and this is a topic that comes up a couple times a week in the pay-per-click sub on Reddit, and all kinds of other places, and is hotly debated and contested. So hopefully I'm going to clarify a few things today for you, and I'd love to hear your feedback on this one because, as I say, it is something that gets debated, and there's a lot of ongoing conversations about this. So first off, all campaigns are learning all of the time, right? So whether you're using max clicks bidding or max conversions bidding or target ROAS or anything else, Google is always learning and self-optimizing based on the data that's coming in. So in terms of a click-based strategy, it is trying to figure out how to deliver more clicks at a lower cost per click to meet the goal of that campaign. If you're using max conversions, likewise, it is trying to figure out how to generate more conversions for the dollars you're investing into that campaign. So again, it's going on all of the time, and that includes, what queries it's going to bid on, how much it's bidding, looking at the thousands of user signals on the back end, optimizing creative combinations, and so on and so forth. So learning mode is a bit of a misnomer. It's always learning. It's just a matter of kind of where it's at with the learning process. So there is something called learning mode that Google presents when you make a major change to your campaign. And I'm going to go through those changes over here once I get that far. So the first thing is, when you make a significant change to the campaign, such as changing the bidding strategy or making a very substantial budgetary change in one shot, Google will flag that as being in learning mode. So it's just a cue to you that it's going, you made a significant change, and Google now needs to kind of, make very big changes to bidding, and it's going to take some time to get the performance back on track. So with that said, you can see that this campaign, which is currently using max clicks bidding, is in learning mode, and it's going to take 2 days for learning, and it's been 3 days since the last significant change, right? So if I go into their help article, everything is explained right here. And I'm going to move myself out of the way, which is not letting me do for some reason. I think I can put it over here. There we go. All right, so after you make a change to your automated bid strategy, the campaign or portfolio needs some time to calibrate towards the new goal. To indicate this, a learning status may be shown. This article then goes on to explain. So where can I see whether my campaign is learning? Well, you'll see on the bids status, right, which we can see here. And here are the 3 reasons why your bid strategy may be in learning mode. It's a new strategy, so if it's a new campaign, for example, or if it's a new strategy applied to the campaign, that would trigger learning mode. A setting change, right? You change the bid strategy, and again, this could be that you have changed a target, right? So target ROAS was set at 200% and you increase it to 300%. Composition change, so this one's a little less obvious, but if you change ad groups, keywords, or creative, and it's a significant group of changes cumulatively, then that could trigger learning mode. So in terms of how long learning mode lasts, it depends on the number of conversions you typically get. So if you get fewer, it's going to take longer. The duration of conversion cycle. So if it typically takes a week to get conversions, like from the click to the conversion date, then it may take you 3 weeks to go out of learning mode. And then the bid strategy, so for example, max conversions and max conversions value, the learning period might be different for those. And if you use manual bidding, then there is no learning period because you're effectively doing manual bidding. And then just in general, it's saying can take up to around 50 conversion events or 3 conversion cycles, which I touched on with conversion cycles. So again, if your average time to conversion from click is 2 days, for example, then 3 times 2 is 6 days. And most advertisers, they get their conversions within the same day or 1 day of click. So usually conversion cycles are only a few days. So that's kind of how what I call the hard learning mode, when Google's actually like flagged a campaign, kind of how it works. But importantly, all of the changes that you make in a campaign do disrupt learning, right? So whenever you change a bid, you add a half a dozen new keywords, you change creative, it does tend to mean that Google is going to take a little bit of time to adjust to that. So that all means that really you want to do as few adjustments as possible, but then that doesn't necessarily make sense either, because of course you don't adjust your campaign, how do you optimize it? So really, don't necessarily be afraid of making a big change. It just could mean that for a week or 2 weeks, if you were to double your budget, you may have a period where performance is suboptimal. So where you can, be careful with major changes like changing the bid strategy. Really, I recommend you do that very infrequently, only when it's absolutely necessary. Making bid changes like target ROAS going from 200 to 300% is a big difference in one step. So what we talk about based on agency experience is doing an adjustment like a bid or budget of 20% at a time once a week is typically not going to be very disruptive, right? Doubling your budget or having your budget and doing that twice a week is definitely going to kick the campaign into learning mode in most cases. So what we're talking about really when we say like avoiding learning mode is just being a little more gentle with your changes, being more progressive versus aggressive. And keep in mind too, like when we talk about 20% once a week, you can double your budget still in the course of a month with those 4 changes. So for most advertisers, it's not necessary to be like super aggressive, doing things like doubling or halving budgets, except under extreme situations. Anyway, so that's learning mode. Again, there's like hard learning mode where Google informs you, but campaigns are always learning. So it's a misnomer to say like a campaign is learning or it's not learning. It is always learning. It's just the degree to which and how much you're disrupting the campaign, kind of what it already understands by making significant changes. So I hope that kind of clears up learning mode. I am happy to entertain any feedback and argue my points. That is it for today. I will see you next time.